Hey everybody, it's Derek here. We're going to take a look at the news from September 20th to the 26th, 2021. So Nintendo had a Switch Direct this week, kind of dropped as they usually do, just, hey, we're going to be doing a thing, maybe you want to show up in the next 2 days. So their biggest announcement was probably Bayonetta 2, or Bayonetta 3 even. First announced 2017, and then pretty much radio silent the whole time since then. The trailer here even kind of starts with a bit of a bait and switch in that it looks like it's going to be a sequel to Astral Chain, a game I still haven't gotten around to finishing. So it looks like it'll be a sequel to Astral Chain because of this character, this dog character, who's a mascot in Astral Chain. But nope. It turns out it's actually Bayonetta 3. So that was pretty hype. Twitter went a bit nuts. I went a bit nuts, to be fair, when it was shown off that it was going to be Bayonetta. It's pretty great. I'm really happy to see that they've not forgotten the game, and there might actually be some, we might actually see the game come out at some point. It showed off a bit of gameplay. It looks like Bayonetta, you've got witch time, you've got guns in the shoes, you've got various different shenanigans going on. It looks like they're going to be pulling across some stuff from Scalebound, which you may or may not remember. Scalebound was going to be a Platinum Games exclusive for Xbox, which was eventually cancelled, but it was you and a dragon that you could also control at the same time, whereas in Bayonetta 3, it appears you may actually be able to control the demons that you summon. You may actually be able to take control of them and move about the place with them. So that might be pretty cool. I was kind of hoping they'd have got to that part by the time I finished talking, but there you go. So it seems like they might actually join in the fight, as opposed to being kind of glorified cutscenes as they have been in the other two games. So that might be interesting. I guess we'll see how that goes. So that was Bayonetta 3, and then there were actually still a lot of interesting things. Alright, well, we'll do this in the article order, I suppose. So, the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Why there's a trailer for this exactly, but okay, I guess we can put it up while I talk about it. So, the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service that you pay. It's like PlayStation Plus, it's like, Xbox Live or whatever. You pay for it so that you can play games online and multiplayer and so on. So there's going to be a extended version of that. So an additional payment stage option, something like that. And included in that will be a bunch of N64 titles and Sega Mega Drive titles, Sega Genesis titles if you prefer, depending on which part of the globe you're in. And they just announced a couple of titles that'll be coming to it. So Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and on the Genesis or Mega Drive it'll be Sonic 2, Contra, Streets of Rage 2, something else that I don't remember. And in addition to that, I imagine they'll get to it in the trailer, Echo the Dolphin, that's what it was. They will also be... They'll also be selling the controllers as well, so wireless versions of the N64 horrible thing that nobody knows how to hold, and the Mega Drive controller with the weird button layouts that doesn't make sense for everybody. So there's the lineup for Genesis. I've probably skipped the lineup. There's the lineup for N64. Hang on. I'll pause it this time so you can get a good look at it. Right, so not too many, but there are some pretty big games there. The only thing about Super Mario 64 is that it was released on Switch a while ago as part of a anniversary pack, and then they took it down, and now they're putting it behind this Nintendo Switch Online paywall, so that's not great. Ocarina of Time is there as well. It's a bunch of Mario stuff, and Winback. For some reason they just decided to throw Winback in there, and then other games on the way. So F-Zero's on the way, Majora's Mask will be on the way, and so on. Pokemon Snap. Don't know what's on the way for Genesis. Did they get to the part? Yeah. Okay, so controllers. Wireless version of the N64 controller, wireless version of the Mega Drive controller. And they apparently will also have additional buttons, because they will have the home and snapshot, screenshot buttons that are on Nintendo Switch controllers, which are not obviously on the Genesis or the N64 one. I suppose we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it's just another way for Nintendo to just kind of piss off their fan base, because that should just be included in the original Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Some Splatoon news. They were showing off a bit of what will be the story mode for Splatoon 3. So it's going to be focused around the return of the mammalians, or mammals, I guess, who look kind of freaky, as you might imagine in Splatoon. So they're just showing off here a bit of some additional gameplay, some new weapons and stuff for the different environments. And then the trailer gets kind of weird for when the story comes in, that you've got things with hair and, you know, mammaries, presumably, because they're mammals. That's basically the idea of the story, is that mammals are coming back to the world for some reason. And they look pretty weird. There was a trailer then for Yoko Taro's new game, the guy who made Nier and the guy who made Drakengard, which is going to be a card game, but it's not really a card game. It's more, it's very much like a turn-based RPG that just happens to have cards as a motif, and you see how it plays, basically. And if you want to, there is a demo of the game on the eShop, and also on PlayStation, the PlayStation Store as well. I think there's one. I think there's a demo of it on PC also. Well, when you get into it, it plays like a standard single player RPG. It's just wrapped in this card game motif, but it's not really a card game. Yeah, it's hard to explain, because you're not dealing with like a randomized deck or anything like that. You know, you're not building up your deck as it goes along. You are basically a set of characters who have set abilities, and those abilities, they get them as they level up, kind of thing. You know, it's an RPG that just uses cards as its motif. That's all. It's pretty well put together, to be honest. The demo is a lot of fun, and it's coming out pretty soon. We got Disco Elysium's coming to Switch, so you have absolutely no excuse to not play this game now. Disco Elysium is a fantastic RPG, and it just turns you into an absolute mess of a human being. It's just hilarious, and it's on pretty much everything at this point now, so you have no excuse to not play this game. So get your hands on it right now. Just do it. Chocobo GP kind of came out of nowhere. This is so there was once upon a time a Chocobo racing game, and there was going to be one for the Wii U at some point, which was then scrapped, and it looks like it's just being pushed forward into the Switch at this point. So it is Mario Kart with Final Fantasy characters. That's the way it goes. It's Crash Team Racing with fucking Final Fantasy characters, or whatever way you want to put it. That's what it is. Looks nice. You can play as different Final Fantasy characters from your, whatever games you want to play it from. What I'm seeing here is they're mostly, I've seen a couple of Final Fantasy 9s. Gilgamesh is 6, I think. I'm not sure. And the Chocobos are obviously in every Final Fantasy, I think. There's a Moogle, there's a Behemoth there at the back as well. So there's lots of different characters and such. And we had Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So this was kind of leaked ahead of time that there would be a new Kirby shown off at the Switch Direct, but I don't think anybody really expected it to be like this. So we'll skip ahead because there's a lot of scene setting in this trailer before they actually get to Kirbs. Kirby typically is a side-scrolling 2D game, whereas Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not. Kirby and the Forgotten Land's a fully like 3D sandbox, not unlike like the 3D Mario games, Odyssey and Galaxy and so on. So this will be really interesting to see how this plays. It does, of course, end up feeling like it's just Mario but with Kirby. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it looks gorgeous, and Kirby does have its own kind of gameplay mechanics, as you see there. It swallows enemies and kind of either can then eat them and use their abilities or spit them back in and that kind of thing. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But I don't think anyone was really expecting a full 3D world Kirby to be coming out, so that would be interesting to see. Then Project Triangle Strategy, which is now just called Triangle Strategy. So that's their fault for releasing the game with not to be determined title, and now they're just kind of stuck with it because that's how everybody knows it. There was a demo, or not a demo, somewhat kind of a beta, I guess, of this game that came out last year, I think, and I had intentions to play it, but you know what? It's kind of fucking hard. So I was like, do I really want to be stressing out that much on a video? I really don't. So I ended up not doing a video for it. So it's using the kind of graphics or graphical engine that Octopath Traveler uses, where in that it is 2D, but it's in a 3D environment, so it's like 2.5D, I think is generally what it's being called now. It is a strategy or tactics RPG, so grid-based. Your characters all take turns to move about the environment. You get yourselves into different advantageous positions, use your abilities and so on, and the enemy will be doing the same thing. So it is a very involved tactical structure. When I played the beta demo thing, it's a lot of fun, but it's punishing. Enemies can absolutely annihilate you if you're not careful. So they have made a bunch of updates and improvements based on feedback from that demo. One of them being there's an easy mode now. That was probably my feedback, and I imagine a bunch of other people's if they actually went ahead and did it. So there is a easy mode now, and there's also a much harder mode too. So that will be interesting. And they've changed a couple of other things like quality of life, things like auto-forwarding dialogue or being able to review the dialogue log and so on. There's actually like a bunch of different improvements and updates they've made based on player feedback from that thing. So that's pretty cool. The name's not great, but that's kind of their own fault for releasing it with that name. That's just that's how people know the game now. So that's how it goes. And then more Metroid Dread. So I don't want to show too much of this trailer because it is full of spoilers. But yeah, just this is more of a reminder that Metroid Dread is coming out in like 2 weeks or something. So I don't think we want to show off too much of it, but it's Samus being stalked by a bunch of robots that are impossible to kill. That's where the dread part comes from. You're dreading walking into a room with those monsters or with those robots, basically. It's like you don't want to be involved with them because they will kill you, probably. Then last two things. So these are actually surprise drops released the day of the Switch Direct. So Castlevania Advance Collection is a collection of the Castlevania games that came out on the Game Boy Advance. So that is Aria of Sorrow anyway, Harmony of Dissonance, Circle of the Moon. I just saw it. Well, you can debate whether or not I saw it before it actually came up on the trailer, but there we go. It's those three advanced games and then a fourth one that I don't know. But anyway, they're all like pretty great Castlevania games. Aria of Sorrow is amazing Castlevania game. Definitely one to check out just for that one alone. It's a very good Castlevania title. And it was unfortunately locked Dracula X. Okay, fair enough. Technically, I'm not even sure that came out on the Game Boy Advance necessarily. I think it was ported to the Advance at one point, and then... Anyway, there's 4 games there. Anyway, I would almost get that just purely just for Aria of Sorrow, because it's a very good title. And the last one dropped out of nowhere. Absolutely nobody expecting this to come up. What the hell is going on? ActRaiser Renaissance, which is a remaster of the original ActRaiser, which is a very old side-scrolly platformy combat thing, but also it has like like town management kind of stuff built into it as well. It's like a half and half game. One half is not unlike a Castlevania title. Skip to that bit. No? This is all CG. Can we show the game? Okay, we have a bit of the game here. Alright. So that's ActRaiser Renaissance, and then this overworld bit is sort of like, it's a bit tower defense and a bit town management kind of stuff. Whereas the actual combat bits are they're a bit Castlevania, like, only it's quite a bit slower than that. But it has a pretty big following, people who've played it. I've never played it because it's old as fuck. It might actually be older than me. One of the few games out there that's older than me. Actually, no, it's not. I was just thinking, no, it's not older than me. Anyway, probably give it a look, but from what I've seen, it is quite stuttery on on the Switch anyway. The PlayStation might run a bit smoother. And then the last thing that I need you to prepare yourselves for is that they announced the cast for the Super Mario animated film, and if this had just been dropped out of context, I would have thought it was a shitpost, just because of who they've picked for the cast. Okay, so first of all, Mario is not going to be played by Chris Martinet, the guy who voices Mario and almost every Super Mario character. He's getting completely shafted, and they're going with celebrities, and I just don't understand why you don't get voice actors to do voice roles. It's pretty simple. I don't think people would be going to the Mario film for the A-list stars. They're going to the Mario film because it's a Mario film. That's why they'd be going. I don't know why you wouldn't get the Mario voice actor to voice act Mario. But on the other hand, considering who they've actually chosen for the cast, it's possible that the film might be going a bit more of a surreal kind of thing going for it, rather than like straight up a Mario film, you know, like a kid-friendly thing. I don't know. But anyway, here's the cast. So skip ahead here for Shigeru kind of just mentioning it. So Chris fucking Pratt is playing Mario. What the fuck? I can't. If you ask me to cast Mario as necessarily the last person I'd pick, but it wouldn't be the first. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach is a better pick. That kind of fits, at least. Charlie Day as Luigi is fucking inspired. And it just annoys me that in order to see Charlie Day as Luigi, I have to put up with Chris Pratt as Mario, and that sucks. Jack Black as Bowser is pretty interesting. The energy he'll bring to Bowser is going to be a bit strange because I don't think it really fits Bowser, but I don't know. Here we go. And Keegan-Michael Key as Toad again. Fucking brilliant choice. That will be amazing. And then, as Shigeru points out in his video, Donkey Kong will be in the film for random reasons. Nobody really knows. There's a fantastic gif going around of putting on the Seth Rogen laugh over like the Donkey Kong cartoon scenes, and this is brilliant. Charles Martinet, sorry, I was calling him Chris Martinet. Charles Martinet is the original voice of Mario and a bunch of other characters, but he will be in it, he just won't be playing Mario. And then we got a couple of other characters playing. Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. Brilliant. That will be amazing. It's just, what the fuck are you doing with Chris Pratt playing Mario? That just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Anyway, that was the Nintendo Switch Direct for September 2021. Bayonetta 3, amazing, and bunch of other titles that were announced there will also be pretty interesting to check out. But other new releases this week. So additional to the Castlevania Advance Collection and ActRaiser Renaissance, we've also got Lost Judgment that also released this week. So this is a sequel to Judgment. Again, following Yagami's detective agency as he takes on a new case of 2 murders that have been allegedly committed by the same person, but at the exact same time. So that's not possible, right? Unless he has a twin or a clone, or it'll probably turn out he has a twin or some bullshit. This is a Yakuza game after all. They have to have some kind of crazy shenanigans, but also legitimate crazy shenanigans going on too, because you do take on the role of a school supporter or a school tutor or something, and you end up like taking part in a bunch of after school club stuff, which is also going to be ridiculous. And then you also have a dog who is also a detective. You know, if you were expecting it to just suddenly become serious, like there's gonna be serious parts, but also it's like the Yakuza series has a bunch of bullshit going on in it as well. So that's Lost Judgment, and the Death Stranding Director's Cut also came out this week, so this will now be an upgrade for PS4 and PS5. It is, if you want to upgrade the PS5 version of Death Stranding to the Director's Cut, it's an extra tenner, which seems to be what Sony are doing. So Sony's first parties or exclusives, it won't be giving free upgrades. It's going to be a tenner for upgrades after what happened with Horizon and all that debacle. It's definitely their it's definitely what they want to do going forward anyway. So the Director's Cut adds a bunch of different it adds a bunch of new carrier options. So like you have a friendly AI bot who'll carry some stuff for you. You've got a cannon. You've got some other stuff. There's a racing section now. There's a gun range to test out your guns, because you don't typically ever really need to use your guns unless you've really fucked up in Death Stranding. So if you ever do need to use the guns, it's possible you have no idea how they work, because this is probably the first and last time you'll actually have it. And then there's a couple of additional story stuff. Some new story elements. There's a full-on stealth, almost Metal Gear Solid section in the game as well for Director's Cut. Plus, the base game itself is really fucking weird, but I really liked it. It's kind of a match of, you know, Kojima's weird philosophy and general Kojima weirdness, I suppose, coupled with the Postman stuff, which is just really relaxing, honestly, despite what it shows off there. It's obviously the trailer's trying to go full in on the action, but let's just say most of the game is you plodding across the landscape just listening to nice music, despite what this trailer might suggest. The Kena Bridge of Spirits has kind of been silent, honestly, leading up to its release. It was getting a lot of press when it was announced the first time, just because it looks gorgeous. It looks like a Pixar film, but you're playing it, and that is still true. It still looks amazing. What I've seen from reviews and some gameplays is that, yeah, it looks great, and that's kind of it. Gameplay's not amazing. Maybe it's a bit too simplistic for some people, or there's just not enough to it for others. I don't know. It still looks gorgeous, and I'll probably still give it a shot. Skip ahead here a little bit of trailery stuff. So it is ostensibly a kind of world reclaiming game and a third-person combat platformer kind of thing. You are accompanied by these tiny creatures called Rot, who will eat decay and rot in the world, and it's basically your job to sort of undo the damage to the environment and kind of clean it up. And it's a bit Okami kind of. You go into a desolate area and undesolate it pretty much. And then Sable has launched on Xbox and PC. So it's an Xbox exclusive, but you can still get it on PC. Sable, I honestly don't really know what the concept of the game is. I was just kind of taken in by its art style, and and by this speeder bike thing that you kind of fly about the place in. It just looks really, really cool, and I really want to play it, but it's a fucking Xbox exclusive, so there's not much I can do about it. But again, I actually don't know too much about the game itself. I don't know what kind of gameplay it is, if it's a kind of pretty much entirely exploratory kind of thing, or if there's actually combat involved, or any of that kind of thing. How freeform it is. Is it very linear? Is it very open? I don't know. All I know about it is it looks really cool, and I want to play it. So that's new releases for this week, but now it's time to talk about the worst part of video games, the video game industry. Okay, so following on from Activision stories, so as has been brought up on this video series and on like press all over the place, Activision Blizzard not doing too great recently. They're getting sued by fucking everybody pretty much. So they've got the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing are after them for allegations of discrimination, sexual harassment, and fostering a toxic work culture, and a bunch of other things. The National Labor Something Association is also after them for more or less the same thing. And now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is a federal agency in the United States, is also after Activision Blizzard. But this time, it's not necessarily about those allegations. This is mostly that it's trying to protect investors and shareholders' interests in the company, in that all of these allegations will negatively impact stock, and the stock price will go down, and that will affect their money and so on. And the idea is Activision should have told them ahead of time. They shouldn't have learned of this publicly, when it was announced that they were being investigated for this kind of thing. It should have been brought up earlier so that they could prepare for it. And Activision also can't say that, they were in the dark as much as everybody else was, because they publicly said that they had been helping the investigation, or that they had been complying with it. So they were well aware of it for like 2 years, and shareholders are basically alleging that you never fucking told us for 2 years that this was happening. As far as we knew, everything was fine, and you never said anything. So SEC are getting involved for that, so they have subpoenaed a bunch of executives from Activision, including Big Bobby Kotick himself. So get fucked, Bobby, you're in a lot of trouble now. They're also looking for a bunch of his communications with other high-level executives. They're looking for... they want to see the separation agreements with some employees who left. They want to see the personnel files of some employees, and they want to see the board meeting minutes, going all the way back to when the investigation began, because they want to see if it ever came up in the board meetings, because if it didn't, oh boy, you're in trouble. And even if it did, you're still kind of in trouble. Personnel files for the 6 former employees. I imagine it's the employees who left the company in the last while, like J. Allen Brack and Afrasiabi and all those lads, the Cosby Sweet Boys. I imagine it's their personnel files they're trying to get a hand on. And also the separation agreements with them, like, were they paid? Were they paid to go away? We can't deal with your press right now, so please leave the company? Or were they fired, or what was it? They want to know what that is. Activision representative just had a bunch of corporate speak. We're absolutely, we're definitely cooperating with the SEC. You bet it. You bet we are. They are in their fucking hole anyway. So yeah, they're checking. The SEC is basically looking to see whether Activision Blizzard had an obligation to inform its investors about the investigation into workplace and gender pay gap allegations before it was made public. Pretty sure they did, so that's going to be a problem for them. Activision Blizzard investors clearly think that they should, because they did file a suit earlier in the year, pretty much right as the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing dropped their suit. A bunch of Activision Blizzard investors also sued for the same thing. Basically, you should have told us. And that Activision had been making, they made false and or misleading statements and or failed to disclose all of these facts. Like, you never told us they were being investigated. So yeah, the SEC are after them too. So that's another, this time federal agency after Activision Blizzard. And then, not to be outdone, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission are also looking at Activision for the same thing, has been conducting its own examinations of Activision. The one issue here is that the EEOC will probably settle. It is said to be in settlement talks with Activision, which probably means that they'll get away with a slap on the wrist. You won't hear much about this. They'll pay a fine of very little money, and that'll be the end of it, which isn't great. It also means that if they probably do go for a settlement, that the results of their investigation probably won't get released. So that's not great, but you know, at least with the SEC after them, that's probably not good. So you might be thinking, do I even really want to still work at Activision Blizzard? If I happen to be head of legal for Activision Blizzard, would I really want to be working there with all of these like state, government, and federal agencies coming after me? Would I want to still be working there? And the answer is no. Blizzard's chief legal officer quits. Yeah, absolutely. Get the fuck out of there, Claire. So, Blizzard Entertainment's chief legal officer, Claire Hart, has resigned from the embattled company. So, they resigned Friday, September 17th, was their final day. Mentioned it on their LinkedIn or whatever. Been with the company for 3 years, previously at Google for about 10. Didn't cite a reason for their resignation, only that, I was sure honored to be working for these fucking idiots who've absolutely destroyed my fucking career at Blizzard. Thanks for that. No one was going to take a look at me after this shit. They haven't mentioned what they're going to be doing afterwards, which is kind of rare for you to take. What they're saying here is taking a short break, and which is what a lot of these kind of people leaving Blizzard have been saying, and that they haven't lined up a job afterwards, which kind of sounds like I need to get out or I've been forced out, one or the other. In terms of chief legal officer, I would feel that shit's probably gone. I don't want to deal with this shit. I'm out of here, without lining up a job afterwards. So they're not waiting around basically to line up a position. They're just getting the hell out. That's how I'm reading this. And in addition to that, she's not the only one jumping ship. She hasn't been the only one jumping ship, because a bunch of people from Blizzard have either left or have been forced out, depending on what way you want to look at it. But now, Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sonny also getting the fuck out, and also has a similar story about what he's doing afterwards, which is, I'm taking a short break, which is also code for I need to get the fuck out of this company. So he's gone before Overwatch 2 even gets released. Debatable if it's even gold yet. I think it's gone gold, but I'm not sure. Overseeing development of Overwatch 2 has left after... Oh, I actually didn't see this part. Sonny, who was overseeing the development of Overwatch 2, leaves Blizzard almost exactly 5 months after the high-profile departure of Overwatch director Jeff Clapton. Oh, I did know that, actually. So yeah, lots of people, lots of high-up people, because he's an executive producer. He's not just producer; he's executive producer. Getting the fuck out, and just taking a short break. So not even waiting to line up a job. They're just, I'm getting out of here. Fuck this shit. Okay. Following up on Epic Apple shenanigans, so Apple are basically not letting Epic back on the store pretty much ever from what I'm reading here, or at least not anytime soon. So Apple has told Epic it won't be reinstating its Fortnite developer account until the appeal process is over. The appeal process can take years, like at least 5, probably. Maybe 10 if they really go, or if they really drag out the court cases. It can go on for a very long time. And by then, if Fortnite is still a fucking thing in 10 years, I don't know. I don't know if I want to still be on this planet anymore. But anyway, So following the court case, it was kind of pointed out that Apple are no longer allowed to hide or prevent developers from showing or directing players to optional payment options. What am I like today? I keep reusing my words. Anyway, and Epic kind of took that as, hey, that's why you kicked us off in the first place. Why don't you let us back on now? Hey. And Apple went, fuck off. Pretty much. Epic has once again attempted to have its developer account reinstated, this time by appealing directly to Apple. So not suing them, actually just going, hey, maybe let us back on, even though the court said you don't have to. Maybe let us back on, yeah? Cheers. Not happening. So, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney sent a correspondence to Apple executive Phil Schiller. He shared that on Twitter, and what he was saying, court says that you can't prevent us from showing optional payment options. I did it again. And, that was the reason you kicked us off in the first place, so you've no reason not to let us on. And then he also set out a bunch of stipulations. And that's like, whether Epic chooses to bring Fortnite back to iOS consumers depends on whether and where Apple updates its guidelines to prove a level playing field between Apple in-app purchases and other methods of payment. I think that says provide. Anyway, Epic will resubmit Fortnite to the Apple Store if you adhere to the plain language of the court order and allow apps to include external links that direct customers to other purchasing mechanisms without onerous terms or impediment to a good user experience. Follow-up email was, you guys are duplicitous shits and we're not letting you back on. Apple confirmed it remains unwilling to reinstate Epic's developer account. Epic committed an intentional breach of contract and breach of trust by concealing code from Apple and making related misrepresentations and omissions. Basically, they had in the app a way to buy V-Bucks that didn't go through the Apple Store, and they submitted it, and they never mentioned it to Apple as part of the review process. And it was Apple who just caught it and were like, what the fuck is this? Get off our store. And that's what kicked off the whole trial thing. Like Apple going, don't kick us off our store. Anyway, in its decision, the court recognized that Apple had contractual rights to act as it did. It merely enforced those rights as Epic's own internal documents show Epic Games expected. So Epic Games, again, it was revealed during the court case that they were well aware that Apple would probably kick them off the shop for doing this. You did this to yourselves. Congratulations, you played yourself, etc. So yeah, basically, you did this to yourselves, and we're under no obligation to allow you back on the store. And not only that, you are appealing the process in the first place. So this whole... Basically, Apple don't want to let them on and then have this appeals and such, and it'll probably hurt their court case for doing that kind of thing as well. So, Epic's Tim Sweeney pointed out that Apple has reneged in another abuse of its monopoly power over 1 billion users. And its article then highlights that Epic failed to prove that Apple was a monopoly. So, saying it has monopoly power, the court slapped you down for saying that, and you're continuing to say it now as well. Epic agreed with Apple that we would play by the same rules as everyone else. Late last night, Apple informed Epic that Fortnite will be blacklisted from the Apple ecosystem until the exhaustion of all court appeals. Basically, Epic, you agreed to play by the rules as everybody else, but then you appealed it. So Apple were like, hang on, which one? Do you agree or do you not agree? And since they don't know, get the fuck off our store. Pretty much. So that's that. You can't have both. You can't have it both ways, Tim. Both Tims, I suppose. Anyway. Okay, so this story is going back a little bit. So there was a story in French publications, Le Monde and Mediapart, who shared stories that were alleging sexual harassment, coercion, and toxic work culture. So same kind of things in Activision, but this time it was leveled at Quantic Dream, guys behind Heavy Rain and Detroit and other things. Quantic Dream, rather than refuting the allegations themselves, they instead sued for libel. Which is an interesting approach, but okay. So those court cases have been wound up now, and it has found in favor of Quantic Dream for one, and not in favor of Quantic Dream for another, which is kind of weird. So Quantic Dream won its libel suit against Le Monde. However, it also lost its other libel suit against Mediapart. This doesn't really make sense because it was a collaborative article. As in, it's the same article. How can they be liable in one case and not be liable in another case? So this is kind of weird, but so the allegations that were laid out in this published piece. Allegations of widespread sexual harassment, severe crunch, racist remarks by executives, including David Cage, and the existence of a bunch of really weird and uncomfortable photoshops. That's kind of glossing over what the photoshops were. Photoshops were basically subbing employees' faces, usually female employees' faces, into orgies and porn and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Pretty fucking gross. And here's the thing, the two libel suits, they don't suggest that didn't happen. It seems like it did, is the results of these cases. So Mediapart won the suit against the developer by proving its good faith reporting practices. This means that the claims against Quantic Dreams reported by Mediapart and its reporting practice have now been verified in a court of law. So these allegations that were reported in the article have been verified by a court of law. Not good for Quantic Dream, who are also still trying to clear themselves of those allegations. And the court has said, yeah, they're correct. It's a big fuck up there for Quantic Dream. But then the court decided that Le Monde, on the other hand, had failed to meet the burden of proof. Now this is kind of a quirk exactly. It's probably not the right way to say it, but the French legal system is that the burden of proof is going to be on Le Monde here, and in order for them to actually overcome that burden of proof, they would have to share their sources with the court, and they were unwilling to do that. So Le Monde's unwillingness to disclose anonymous sources to the court are kind of what caused them to fail the burden of proof thing. So, like, the journalism practice of protecting your sources means that they kind of failed their libel suit, or failed to defend their libel suit. So that's not great, and it's kind of it's not a great look for the legal system for the French courts, that they have to give up these anonymous sources in order to get it. But the other side of these things is that anonymous sources could be anybody. It could be me. It could be me just saying David Cage is a big fucking idiot, right? And that's an anonymous source. It doesn't come up, and they just print it. There's two sides to that kind of thing. So, in refusing to disclose its sources to the court, Le Monde may have been unable to prove that the information was verifiably sourced, even if it was true. So, Mediapart were able, or rather the court suggested that Mediapart's allegations in that sexual harassment, crunch, all that stuff, doctored photos and so on, were probably true, but the way you got the information can't be verified. So basically they still have a case for libel. It's kind of a bit wishy-washy, but on the other hand, it does mean that this shit is going on in Quantic Dream. They just can't prove it. Even if it's true. They just can't prove it. So that's not great. So it's a win in one case and it's a loss in another. It's not fun. Either way, Quantic Dream, or David Cage at least, huge asshole. Anyway, we're going to finish with a bit of dumb stuff. So we had a bit of a talk when Hideki Kamiya was talking about the retro game market and how ridiculous it's got for money, and in his case he was talking about games preservation, in that this kind of money wouldn't even be happening if game publishers would actually preserve their games. So this is Yuji Naka, who saw that the original Sonic on the Mega Drive Genesis went for $430,000. What the fuck? right? So there have been allegations that the retro game market has been rife with pumping up the prices to just improve everybody else's collections. So it's been reported that it's probably a big scam at this point. The WADA co-founder himself was accused of breaking his own company rules and selling graded stock for profit. So these aren't good looks for anybody. And Yuji Naka's response was like, "What's this?" And then his follow-up tweet was, "It's a scam, right?" That the original Sonic could be going for $430,500. Yuji Naka, of course, being the original creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's like, even the original creator's like, what the fuck? This is not worth this much money. There's an interesting history here. In July 2020, a sealed copy of the original Super Mario Bros. Rated 9.4, so anything over 9 is considered investment grade, in that the cost of this will just keep going up. So it's debatable if it's actually worth that, but it was rated 9.4 by WADA, and that only sold for 114k. But then, like a year later, same game, rated a 0.2 higher. Would you think a 0.2 higher would result in the price going from 114k to 660? That seems wrong, right? Shouldn't, like, a 0.2 shouldn't put it up like fucking 500% of the cost. So yeah, the even the original creator of the game is like, no, what are you doing? It is not worth that much money. Anyway, there's a lot of stupid shit going around. Or dumb stuff. So that was the news for September 20th to 26th, 2021. Nintendo Switch Direct had a lot of cool stuff from it. Bayonetta 3, I'm really hyped for. Kirby 3D, like, I'm not a big Kirby fan, but I'm hyped for the Kirby fans, because that seems like it's going to be a pretty big deal for them. Seeing ActRaiser just come out of nowhere, that's just kind of weird. Actually having a new Metroid just around the corner it's still not real. Kinda, it's like, what's going on? And then actually getting the demo to play the Isle Dragon Roars, that was really cool. I wasn't expecting it. One, I wasn't expecting to get a free demo like that exact day, but then I definitely wasn't expecting that the game would be coming out in like a month. You know, I thought it was still going to be a good while off. That's pretty great, and I actually really enjoy it. The game is kind of interesting in its presentation. It's almost presented as a card game. Or rather, it's almost presented as I'm gonna say like board game, like role-playing game, like a tabletop role-playing game. It's kind of presented that way, in that you are playing a game inside the game, which is very Yoko Taro, let's put it that way. New releases this week. I still kind of just sort of fresh off Judgment, so I probably won't jump straight into Lost Judgment right away. Probably still going to give that a while before I jump back into it. It's kind of the same with Death Stranding. I did platinum that, and that took a really long time. So I've played that game to death, pretty much. So Death Stranding, hilarious. Anyway, so again, I'm not too hyped to jump straight into the director's cut right now. Kena Bridge of Spirits, there's a lot in my backlog, and the reviews don't make me like, I'm not champing at the bit to play it, let's put it that way. It can wait, you know, it can wait for a price drop as well. And then Sable, it's an Xbox exclusive, so I'll just have to watch somebody play it, I guess. I could get it on PC, but as I've said before, I don't get a lot of options or a lot of chances. With me and saying the word option today, I don't get a lot of chances to play PC games. So yeah, I'll probably have to wait on that one too. Elsewhere on the channel, I've been continuing the Plague Tale playthrough up to part 12 now. There are a total of 16, maybe 17 chapters in the game, so we're getting to the end of it now. And I am looking to see what I'm going to do for the month of October. I am looking to do something Halloween-y, you know, horror kind of thing. Not entirely sure what just yet. It'll probably, I'm thinking vampire, but or vampire if you like. But that game is kind of long, and I don't think I'll actually have it finished within the month. So I don't know yet, but that is the game I'm leaning towards. I might probably have to opt for something a bit shorter if I actually want to get it done. And I always make this mistake that I wait until October to actually start recording, and I should really record these games way in advance. Like I should have been doing a Plague Tale as the Halloween game pretty much. And that's the way I should have been doing it. Anyway, didn't turn out that way. That's where we go. And of course, the games of April 2021 will get done at some point. I have actually have the script partially written. I have the script written for a couple of the games. I just need to finish it off for the remaining ones. And I do have all the footage I need now, so hopefully that will happen soon, and I can move on to May and June. And Jesus, I was just looking at what the games are in May, and some of those are enormous. Pray for me. Anyway, that was the news for 20th to 26th September 2021. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.